The story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood is one of the most iconic tales from the Bible, resonating across cultures and centuries with its themes of destruction, salvation, and covenant. This narrative is not just a story about divine judgment and redemption, it's a tale that has fascinated historians, theologians, and the general public alike, weaving together elements of myth, morality, and mankind's relationship with the divine. According to the biblical account, primarily found in the book of Genesis, humanity had grown corrupt and wicked, prompting God to regret his creation. However, in the midst of this moral decay, Noah, a righteous man blameless among the people of his time, found favor in the eyes of the Lord. God revealed to Noah his plan to cleanse the world of its corruption through a great flood. Noah was instructed to build an ark, a massive wooden vessel, to save himself, his family, and representatives of the animal kingdom from the impending deluge. The construction of the ark was an act of faith and obedience. Noah, often mocked and ridiculed by his contemporaries for his seemingly irrational actions, persisted in his task, driven by his unwavering belief in God's warning. The ark itself was of monumental scale, described as being 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, made from gopher wood and sealed with pitch inside and out. Into this vessel, Noah was to bring his wife, his sons and their wives, along with pairs of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground, to keep them alive during the flood. When the ark was completed, and the animals gathered, the skies darkened, and the floodgates of heaven were opened. Rain fell upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and the waters rose greatly on the earth, covering even the highest mountains. Everything that lived on dry land perished, except for Noah, his family, and the creatures aboard the ark. After 150 days, the waters receded, and the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah sent out a raven, which kept flying until the waters had dried up. He then sent a dove, which returned with an olive leaf in its beak, signaling that the water had receded enough for life to begin anew on earth. Upon leaving the ark, Noah built an altar to the Lord, offering sacrifices from each clean animal and clean bird. God, moved by Noah's faith and the aroma of the sacrifices, promised never to curse the ground again because of humans, despite their heart's inclination to evil from childhood. Moreover, God established a covenant with Noah and his descendants, signified by the rainbow, as a promise that never again would all life be destroyed by floodwaters. The story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood has been subject to countless interpretations and analyses. Some view it as a literal historical event, while others see it as a symbolic or allegorical story conveying moral and theological truths. Its echoes can be found in various cultures and religious traditions around the world, suggesting a shared human memory of a catastrophic flood, or a common theme of renewal and rebirth after destruction. Now we're going to talk about the Great Flood in civilizations. The narrative of a great flood sent by divine forces to cleanse the earth of its corrupt inhabitants is a motif that transcends the story of Noah's Ark, permeating the mythology and folklore of many civilizations across the globe. These stories, while varying in details and characters, underscore a universal human recognition of water's dual nature as both life-giver and destroyer, as well as a profound cultural memory of cataclysmic flooding. One of the most notable parallels to the biblical flood story is found in the Epic of Gilgamesh, a masterpiece of ancient Mesopotamian literature. In this epic, Utnapishtim is warned by the god Ea about the god's decision to destroy humanity with a great flood. Utnapishtim builds a boat, fills it with his family and animals, and survives the deluge. After the flood, he releases a dove, a swallow, and a raven to find dry land, mirroring Noah's actions. The Epic of Gilgamesh predates the writing of the Genesis flood narrative, suggesting that such flood myths were prevalent in the ancient Near East and possibly shared among its cultures. In Greek mythology, Deucalion and Pyrrha survive a flood sent by Zeus to punish humanity for its wickedness. Warned by Prometheus, Deucalion constructs an ark to save himself and his wife. After the floodwaters recede, Deucalion and Pyrrha repopulate the earth by throwing stones over their shoulders, which transform into men and women. Hindu mythology recounts the story of Manu, the first man, who was warned about a forthcoming flood. Guided by the fish avatar of the god Vishnu, Manu saves himself, the sages, and the 7 seeds of life in a boat, securing the continuation of life after the floodwaters subside. The Mesoamerican cultures also have their flood myths. For example, the Aztec story of Coxcox, or Teotihuacán, speaks of a couple surviving a great flood in a hollow log, and after the flood, they found themselves on a mountain, where they had many children who were born mute but were given the ability to speak by a dove. These flood narratives, while distinct in their specifics, share common themes: a divine decision to purge the earth of its moral decay, a chosen survivor who is forewarned and escapes the destruction by building a vessel or finding refuge, the use of birds to determine the receding of the waters, and the renewal of life on earth following the flood. Scholars and theologians debate whether these stories reflect a collective memory of a specific historical event, such as a catastrophic flood in the ancient world, or whether they represent a thematic exploration of moral rebirth and the cyclical nature of destruction and regeneration. The persistence of flood myths across cultures speaks to their deep-rooted place in human consciousness, perhaps as a warning of the consequences of moral decay, a reminder of humanity's vulnerability to nature's wrath, or an affirmation of the hope for renewal and redemption. Back to Noah's Ark and its mystery location. The final resting place of Noah's Ark is a topic that has captured the imagination of explorers, historians, and the faithful for centuries. According to the biblical narrative, the Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat after the floodwaters receded. However, the exact location of this final berth remains one of the great mysteries of religious and archaeological exploration. The quest to uncover the Ark's remains has yielded numerous claims, theories, and expeditions, but definitive proof remains elusive, shrouded in a mix of faith, folklore, and scientific inquiry. The mountains of Ararat are traditionally associated with the present-day Mount Ararat in eastern Turkey, a dormant compound volcano that dominates the skyline and is the nation's highest peak. This identification is based on the Genesis account, but Ararat in the context of the Bible is thought to refer to the ancient kingdom of Urartu, a region encompassing parts of modern-day Turkey, Iran, and Armenia. This broader interpretation complicates the search, as the mountains of Ararat could potentially refer to a wide area with numerous mountains. Are you ready to hear historical and modern expeditions? Over the centuries, there have been numerous expeditions aimed at locating the Ark. Historical accounts, dating back to antiquity, mention sightings of the Ark by various travelers and explorers, often shrouded in miraculous or mystical terms. In more recent times, the advent of aerial and satellite imagery, along with advances in archaeological methodology, has spurred new interest and led to various expeditions to Mount Ararat and its surrounding regions. Claims of discoveries have often made headlines. Some explorers have reported finding large wooden structures embedded in ice and volcanic debris near the summit of Mount Ararat, while others have identified what they believe to be Ark-like formations in the mountainous terrain of the wider Ararat region. These claims frequently cite anomalies detected through satellite imagery or the findings of ground expeditions, which some believe to be wooden beams or other remnants of the Ark. Now let's go with the skepticism and challenges. The search for Noah's Ark faces significant challenges, both logistical and scientific. Mount Ararat's harsh weather conditions, political instability in the region, and the mountain's status as a military zone have all hindered extensive exploration. Moreover, the claims of discoveries have often been met with skepticism from the scientific community. Critics argue that the evidence presented lacks scientific rigor, pointing out that wood and other materials purported to be part of the Ark could have other explanations or origins. Additionally, the geological activity in the area, including earthquakes and lava flows, complicates the preservation and identification of ancient wooden structures. The mystery of Noah's Ark's final resting place is further complicated by the nature of the evidence. Much of the reported findings are based on personal testimony or interpretations of satellite imagery that can be ambiguous. Without concrete, verifiable archaeological evidence, the claims remain speculative.